Cardoza was on some kind of hill. So you could see the fireworks from Cardoza. Baby, but that goddamn Clifton Terrace right there, Negros. Okay? Negros. You go there to watch the fireworks, but watch your bus. Bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Let's talk about Divided Soul, the life of Marvin Gaye. This is going to be a good one. Ritz and Marvin went to Cardoza High School together, where they formed their first group, the DC Tones. Their lead singer was Sandra Lattisaw, whose daughter Stacy is today a successful pop singer. You say, what, nigga, you ain't tell me that Stacy Lattisaw's mama sang with the Marvin Poo. You didn't tell me that. And I don't think there's nothing in the Stacy Lattisaw unsung episode that told us that her mammy sang with Marvin Poo up at the Cardoza. Sandra's, Stacy Lattisaw's mama, dark eyes, smiled when she remembered the Marvin Gaye she knew in high school. He was different. You sensed that right away. Extremely sensitive and very lonely. Marvin was definitely a loner. No girlfriends, and not the kind of fella who'd hit on girls either. He had fine manners, and you could tell he had real breeding. He used to wear his pants really baggy. I remember that. And he was always neat and well-groomed. He was a gentleman. Fact is, all the time he was in our group, I didn't know he could sing, because he was strictly playing the piano. Marvin had a perfect ear and played just beautifully. I suppose he was too shy to sing.
Among the black kids in the neighborhood, the 50s in D.C. was an age of hot curlers, outrageous conks, and do-rags. The crowd was greasing up and straightening out their hair. It was a time when Little Lord Fauntleroy Bambi ruled the airways at the WST.
Now, the WST is the same place that my mom and my aunt and my cousin Honey used to party, okay? Me and Mick eventually partied there once they opened the WST back up in the 80s, okay? But baby, the WST was a big deal. It was a radio station, okay? And then sometimes they would have events there. The Howard, Marvin explained, was my real high school. I studied the singers like my life depended on it. When I saw Sam Cooke and Jesse Belvin, I'd try to avoid my friends and family for days. I didn't want to talk or be talked to because I was busy practicing and memorizing everything I heard those singers do. The shows were knockouts. Cats like the Cadillacs could really step. James Brown was opening for Little Willie John in those days. And between James and Jackie, a sure enough stage performer. We were just living to sing back then, said Reese Palmer. We didn't even know the first thing about dope. Feeling inadequate has always been my biggest problem. Marvin was able to analyze himself with the objectivity of a clinical psychologist. My voice is basically created in my throat. And there I was, surrounded by full-bodied singers, boys who could sing from their diaphragms. If you'd ever teach these cats Italian, they'd be opera style. Billy Stewart, for instance, the guy called Fat Udi, well, he and his brothers had incredibly full voices. Sitting in the park, waiting for you. Billy owned a wholly original style, almost a way of stuttering, jazz-like, through a song. I was always afraid that I had no style. Compared to the other fellas on the street, my voice sounded small. It took me a long time just to open my mouth, and when I did, I was sure I'd be slapped down by the singer next to me. Shh. By age 15, Marvin was growing restless. He was developing a sensitive awareness and distinct skepticism about the city and society in which he lived. He no longer took things for granted. He no longer believed what he was taught. He began to understand that racial discrimination surrounded him, and with greater frequency, he rebelled against the society that permitted it.
Academically, he did considerably poorer in high school than junior high, where according to his teacher, Mary Turner, he'd sung in the boys' choir and been a member of the Honor Society.
I couldn't concentrate any longer, Marvin said. Nothing seemed more important than music. I didn't want to listen to my teachers. I started challenging their authority. I was tired of being goody-goody. I'd wait for the bell to ring at the end of the class, jump up and sing my way down the halls with other guys. We'd be jamming in the lunchroom, in the playgrounds, and on the bus home. Man, we'd skip school all the time just to hang out and sing. School was jail. Learning all the supposedly wonderful lessons of American history and knowing deep inside that they're lies. Unlike other ghettos, ours was backed up to all the buildings and institutions dedicated to lofty American principles. That drove us a little crazy. From our junior high school, you'd see the Capitol Dome, a reminder of what it stood for. Then after school, Marvin and I would be chased from a public playground by an official screaming, "Get out. This is for whites only." From the windows of Cardoza, I loved. Let me tell you what we used to do, okay? Because Cardoza was prime. Do you hear me? What you could do from Cardoza was go to their field and see the monument, because it's crazy because Cardoza was on some kind of hill. So you could see the fireworks from Cardoza. Baby, but that goddamn Clifton Terrace right there, Negras, okay? Negras. You go there to watch the fireworks, but watch your puss.
From the windows of Cardoza, Marvin had a commanding view of the city's major monuments. School kids in D.C. were taken on tours of all those places. True. Marvin explained, "I remember visiting the Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson Memorial."
So what Marvin Gaye said was that when he would go to see these monuments on class trips, it was like he always felt like these monuments weren't here for me. Marvin's antagonism towards the government began at an early age. In time, his sense of political alienation would intensify to a point where he refused to pay taxes. You remember what happened? Who was that? Richard Pryor tried that bullshit too? Mm-hmm. Red Fox played that bullshit too? I told you. You don't want the boogeyman here. You know it's because they be men. They be like, "I'm rebelling against the system." Baby, if you want to rebel against the system, then you need to move out of the America. Because what they won't do is allow you to live and receive all the privileges of the United States of America and not pay the boogeyman. Along with his wives and father, the U.S. government, especially the IRS, would become one of his chief advisories. I wouldn't say Marvin was angry in high school, Reese Palmer observed. I'd call him shrewd and very aware. I guess we both considered school a waste of time. Marvin and I should have graduated in 1956. That was the year my mammy was born. In Instead, we both quit after 11th grade. I worked and Marvin did something that surprised a lot of people. But you know Marvin, he was always full of surprises. Gaye's relationship with official America took a new turn when he decided to enlist.
Why did I run off and join the Air Force? Marvin asked himself, pausing before answering the question. I suppose I thought I was being bold. I fancied myself a flyer, like Earl Flynn, with an ascot tied around his neck, but oddly enough, I've always been petrified of flying. Perhaps this was the ultimate dare. Anyway, I was sick to death of Father's household. I had to get out. Besides, I didn't have the concentration to make it through high school. I was afraid of failing. I knew I couldn't live up to Father's standards.
Gaye Sr. would later tell a different story. He claimed that he gave his son an ultimatum: either join the armed service or finish high school and start college. So listen, this book has already proven to us that Pappy Gaye will lie. Okay, he is a Libra. Okay, there's been examples so far where we know that Papa Gaye will lie. Like when he had told David Ritz that he had his own church around there to 17th and East Capitol. And his daughter, Jean Gaye, had said, that's not true. Daddy only preached in the house. He didn't have his own church. That's not true. I said, damn, maybe they need to, huddle before they talk to an author so that at least their stories can match. According to Marvin, though, enlisting was an act of defiance, not obedience. There have been times, said Gaye, when I laughed about Father's expectations and times when I've cried. How could I even think about being a lawyer when I didn't even have the chops to finish high school?
Feeling guilty and ashamed for not finishing high school, Marvin saw the Air Force as an easy escape. It wasn't. It was disastrous. Marvin not only failed to adjust, but found himself in open rebellion against authority. His extreme sensitivity smashed against a brick wall of regimentation. I felt betrayed, he said. Let me tell you why this Negro felt betrayed. Child.
Now, Marvin Gaye felt betrayed by the military because in his mind, he thinking, ooh, I'm about to put on a uniform. Girls love uniforms. We do. Like, whenever my wife is in her scrubs and her white coat, I be like, ooh. So Marvin Pooh thinking that, he about to be this air pilot flying all over the world in a Air Force uniform, landing, screwing all the beautiful women of the world, child. Okay, but that didn't happen. What happened was they put his ass in the kitchen and he ended up peeling potatoes. I'd been tricked. KP became an issue. They said I had to do it. I said I'd think about it and maybe do it tomorrow. Since no one talks that way in the service, they called me crazy. I became a nightmare. Oh man, the way I carried on in the Air Force was ridiculous. They threw cold water on me. They threw me in a can. They stayed on my ass. After 8 or 9 months, I thought, to hell with this shiz. I'm going home. It wasn't that easy though. I had to prove I was crazy. And I began by faking crazy. But in the end, believe me, it was no act. My discharge was honorable, although it was plainly stated, Marvin Gaye cannot adjust to regimentation and authority. There was a crummy little cat house outside the base. 4 hookers for 2,000 men. God, I know them bitches was rich. 4 hoes for 2,000 men? Nigga! I know them bitches was pushing Bentleys. Okay, so the going price for, cat right now is $40. How you hoes allow vagina to cost $40? But let's just say $40. Okay, and God, 4 hoes for 2,000 men. Hold on, let's do the numbers on this. I had a cup of coffee today, y'all. My bad. Okay, 2,000 men divided by 4 hoes. That's 500 men to each hoe. If each 500 men is paying them $40 a month, $40 a month. That's $20,000. Each one of them men screwed them hoes one time a month. That would be $20,000 a month, child. Yeah. You see this? 500 soldiers times $40. I was shaking in my boots and scared shizzless about being able to get it up. Ooh, I'm so happy I know, man. Ooh, because we do talk about you sometimes. Ooh, we talk about y'all sometimes when that dick be broke. Oh, we do. Why not? Y'all talk about us when it be dry, okay? Or old, okay? Looking like two broken down entry doorways. It didn't help that the girl was fat. She was also impatient. Yes, because she got 499 other niggas waiting in line to get in the room, Marvin. I actually got hard. I know I tried to fight my way through her fatty flesh, but then my mind won't remember anymore. I felt betrayed. Again, sex was crude and frightening. Suddenly, I could see a world of pure sex where people turned off their minds and fed their lusts, no questions asked. The concept sickened me, but I also found it exciting. I need prostitutes, Marvin confessed to the French magazine Actual in 1983. Prostitutes protect me from passion. Passions are dangerous. They cause you to lust after other men's wives. A year before, in 1982, he claimed to have come close to actually marrying a prostitute while in Europe. At that time, he'd convinced himself that she alone could resolve his mushrooming sexual anguish. Now, know this, when we read the Gaye book, Gaye said that it was plenty of times that they didn't had, nights out in the red light district pursuing prostitutes. Pick that one. I like that one, Jan. Go get her. They would be in a conversion van, rolling around the red light district. Jan would be like, hey, it's Marvin Gaye in the van over here. Do you want a piece of him? Marvin Gaye? Marvin Gaye. Come on, get in the van with us. Real talk. Back in D.C. in 1957, Marvin was forced to return home from the Air Force, a failure. At first, I couldn't walk into Father's house. The situation hadn't changed. He wasn't working and Mother was, and I hadn't done anything to help. I knew what he'd say. I knew how he'd laugh. So I just lived on the outside, crashing on friends' couch. When it became clear that I had to follow fate and sing for a living, there was even more reason to avoid Father. He'd see it as proof positive of me being a bum. Hell, Pappy Gaye a goddamn bum. He just married to your mammy. As a man, I still hadn't made it. I was back on the streets of Washington, but my hustle vibe was serious. This showbiz thing had to work for me. I had nothing else. The Marquis were formed just around this time and became Gaye's first singing venture as an adult. When Marvin returned from the Air Force in the summer of 1957, Reese remembered me, him, James Nolan, and Chester Simmons started the Marquis. Chester had just graduated from Cardozo. He sang bass. Nolan sang baritone. I was first tenor and Marvin second tenor, but Marvin also sang beautiful baritone harmony. Marvin could sing anything. To some degree, the Marquis modeled themselves after the Moonglows, whose 1955 Sincerely was a doo-wop classic. We played sock hops, school assemblies, anywhere we could, Reese explained. Once we even went on the Milt Grant show, one of those TV teen things. Nothing really happened though until we met Bo Diddley. We call him over here in this book club Bo Dirt Dick Diddley. Okay? You know why? Because when we read the Etta James book, Etta James and this other little girl group, I forget the name of it. Timmy, help me out. damn, I forget the charade. What we learned from Etta James is that Bo Dirt Dick Diddley, got a propensity to want to be a porn director.
Hollywood, lovely white light, baby carry. No all the stars that come, the central goes, but it isn't Hollywood people. Hollywood
already done so. Please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one. DC, I love you. I'll be home in May, baby.